Hey everybody, it's Fireman Jim. Figured I'd do a little video. It's been about 7 months since I posted one. Do a little update on my boat that I'm building. Here's the V-hole that y'all probably remember from my last video. It's come a little way further than last you have seen. I got the motor in, the steering. Watch the steering. That's all the steering consists of. Pretty simple, straightforward. Cable runs inside the tube behind the wall, comes out up here, comes back to the steering block in the center. I'll see if I can take a picture of that real quick. I don't know if you can see that down there, how that works. I'm not really able to see what you're seeing. But it's pretty simple setup. Anyway, I'll go ahead and explain the rest of this. Here I have a battery. That's to power the little electric pump right here. This is a water pump. I don't know how well you can see. This is the intake for the water pump. It sucks water in through that tube right there. Actually, it doesn't suck. Gravity actually pushes the water into the tube. The pump is actually a pusher, so it pushes water up into my exhaust right there. Come over here. Oh, you can't see it. There you go. Anyway, it's a custom exhaust header I made. I have it wrapped with heat wrap so it doesn't get hot. All the heat stays inside the exhaust. The purpose of the water is to cool off this section of tube from here to here. That's so it doesn't melt the rubber hose, which it hasn't. That little kink, that's just from when I stuck it on there, twisting it around. This part here stays cold enough where I can keep my finger on it while the engine's running, as long as that pump is going. I got the drive shaft pretty much dialed in, the new cable. Last time I took it for a test run a couple weeks ago, but this part here kept sliding out of the clutch adapter. So I made a little modification to the end of it to keep it from coming out any longer. I'm gonna add a shaft lock or a shaft collar right here to keep this from moving inward. I added a grease zerk to grease up the tube, make it easy to turn. It's already easy to turn, but I figure if I add a little grease to it, it'll also help keep water out. There's no water gets in the boat any longer. I did have a couple leaks. I thought the leak was coming from, yeah, see how short, there's another tube inside this aluminum piece. I machined this so it was more or less a press fit onto that inner tube. That inner tube was a very hard plastic. Actually, it's this same stuff here. It's really, really hard. You have to machine it. Anyway, like I said, I thought that the leak was coming out in between the tube and the aluminum piece and was coming out through here somewhere. I have a nice big thick gasket in there. I figured that would stop the leak. My second idea was to put an O-ring at that union where this mates up to the plastic piece to fill up that void. Took it out again and still had a leak. Well, come to find out, I was leaking through the bolts. I had no way to seal around the bolts themselves. And that's where the water was coming in. No big deal, put some caulk in them, took them apart, filled up the holes with caulk, filled all the edges with caulk, and then tightened it back up. Hopefully this weekend I'll be able to go for another ride to test it out. I don't have the wiring done yet, but temporarily I water pump going. It sounds like that because there's no water in it. When the water gets in there, it's nice and quiet. Here's my throttle. Pull back for the throttle. I have a lot of playroom. Throttle really doesn't start till right there. And then that's all the throttle you get. That's wide open. The way I have it set up, when you have the handle back all the way, the amount of tension that's on that spring at wide open throttle, once you release it, it gets off a wide open throttle, and then it sits inside that little detent. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, it sits inside that little detent, and that's about 3/4 throttle. Seems to work pretty good so far. I got my little temporary gas tank. Now let's crank it up. Hold on just a second. Not too shabby. The water port, or the exhaust port, the water line is approximately right here, about halfway up the tube. Depending on how I'm sitting in the boat, sometimes it covers up the whole hole, but that's no big deal as long as the engine's running. Because the what happened here? That's no big deal as long as the engine's running, because the exhaust pressure will keep pushing the water out. When the engine's not running, the water can only come up to about right here, and it still has a long way to go before it actually gets into the engine. The other day, I did have the water pump going with the engine off, and I actually vapor locked, or what do you call it? It's not vapor locked, aqua locked, I guess. Hydro locked my engine. There you go, hydro locked. It filled, my exhaust filled up with water, and I couldn't pull on the rope because there was no place for the gas to go. What else is he going to show you? Oh, the steering. And now the steering straight, go straight back. Hold on, where's my dog? Roscoe! Get over here! My steering, if you notice, it goes straight back. Most boats, when they turn, the prop turns left, turns right. Directly left and directly right. Well, watch what happens when I turn. Did you notice anything? My prop is now pointing to the left, but it's also pointing down. The more I turn left or right, the more down it points. That's called, basically it's thrust vectoring, like a jet uses when they turn to make those fast high maneuvers. The idea is boats normally turn, it's hard to turn a boat in slow speed, slow RPMs, because well, it's just natural because of how the boat is designed. But with this, not only am I pushing that way with the water that's coming out, I'm also pushing down. So what happens is, instead of just pushing the back of the boat that way, let me see, can you see? Instead of just pushing the back of the boat to the right to make a left-hand turn, it's also wanting to push up on the boat, which gives it less resistance and lets the boat turn even faster at a low RPM. This boat does handle really well, a lot better than what I expected. I still haven't got to get full throttle out of it. The most I've gotten is about, I'd say about quarter throttle. Quarter throttle, and that's about the time that the cables snap. This is the 5th cable. It's the largest cable I've made so far. I made a lot of changes to the design, which I can't exactly tell you, other than the diameter of the cable has changed. It's gone up in diameter drastically. The real magic to this thing, the way it works, is inside this tube. And I can't tell you what it is, because it took me about 6 or 7 months to figure out how to make it actually work correctly without screwing up. A lot of trial and error, a lot of machine time making new parts. That shaft there, that shaft coming out of there, a new prop shaft, new cables. It's just been a hassle. Not a well, yeah, it's been a hassle. It's been a headache. Anyway, I got it fiberglass. I don't remember if that was in the last video or not. I don't know if you can see this. I got it all fiberglassed in the bottom. The sides have 2 layers currently. That bottom edge right there where it looks really white, that's 3 layers. The center seam has 4 layers on it currently. And I still got to put 1 more layer over the whole thing, the whole bottom of the hole, and that'll make add 1 more layer to each side. I still have to do a seat. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. I'm probably just going to make a big pad, a big seat pad to go here, or maybe even go around the holes where there's a hole in the seat pad. Those holes are to get air into the engine compartment, because eventually this is going to have a cover over it. It's going to have like a reverse hood scoop, so the fumes, exhaust, anything that's in here comes out the back end over here. And I got a little hook so I can pull somebody. Oh, what I was going to say, I've only got it up to about quarter throttle, and using the GPS on my other phone, I've already gotten to about 8 miles an hour at quarter throttle. I haven't said that to anybody yet, because that's just been my little secret. I foresee this boat easily hitting 15, 18, probably even close to 20 miles an hour. It's so light on the water, and I can still go up in size on the prop. That prop is for a 5 horsepower to 6.5 horsepower motor. Granted, I'm using a 5.5 GX 160, but it's been worked over extensively, and I'm really closer to like 10 horsepower, roughly, maybe 11. So realistically, I could step up to the next size prop, which I believe would be a 6.5 inch, and this one's a 5.5 inch. That's supposed to be a surface piercing prop for a mud motor. I'm using it where it's actually completely submerged, and that's the reason I'm seeing so much torque on this cable, because that whole prop is twisting in the water instead of just half of it like it normally would be. But that's no biggie. I can overcome it, which I think I have already. Anyway, I guess that's about it. I just want to give a quick little update. There's my steering wheel. I made that out of, let's see here. This is a stainless steel ring that I had all the holes drilled in. This is an aluminum go-kart wheel that I cut big holes into. This piece here I made out of brass. It's the steering hub. And then the centerpiece is made out of aluminum. There's the steering shaft, or not the shaft, but the hub that it rides in, where the bearings are at. The bearings load in from the backside. I guess that's about it. This has been a lot of fun. I encourage you, if you have any dreams about building you a mini boat, or Roscoe! My damn dog. They don't ever like to stay at home. Always running the streets. Get over here, bad boy. Anyway, like I was saying, if you have an inkling, man, I highly suggest you build a boat. It's very, very rewarding. Roscoe, get inside. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a great learning experience. It's been a great life experience. Helping to teach me some patience. You know, when you build things, you want to hurry and get them done. But some things take a while. Some things you got to actually figure out. I've been figuring this one out as I go. It's been a lot of work. It's been a lot of hours thinking about it, designing different things. Still got to put some fiberglass on the top. I probably have another 6 months to go before I'm done, but it's been a great journey. I started on this in August of 2018. I figured it would take me a year. The year has already come and gone. So realistically, probably a year and a half. I really don't have that much more to go, but with the holidays coming up, I probably won't work on it a whole lot. Once I get it up and running, where I can hit full throttle without breaking anything, I think I'll be happy and content for a while. It might take me another year or so to finish the exterior, painting it, making it look pretty. I don't know, we'll just see what happens. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Give me a thumbs up if you did. Give me a thumbs down if you didn't. It really doesn't bother me. But if you didn't like it, let me know why. Maybe you can help me make my videos better. What else would you like to see? Have any questions on what I built? How I've gone about building what I've done? Any questions at all, just ask down at the bottom. Thank you.